It's tremendous that, I mean, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God President Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them.
Are Ilhan Omar and her allies finally caught? Watch them panic live as Tom Homan destroys their arguments. With ongoing allegations against Omar, many are questioning whether she and a few other Democrats should even be in Congress. You can't spin what everyone can see, and the shock on their faces says it all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so people actually see this.
The border czar, Tom Homan, joins us tonight to talk about Minnesota as well as a number of other issues. And, sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file, and says, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitations became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who ran DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at, but this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So I'm running that down this week, matter of fact, and we'll see.
It's tremendous that, I mean, and according to the Secretary, Kristi Noem of DHS, she said nearly 50% of the visas are fraudulent in this community. I mean, that would mean that half the Somali refugees are here in some way illegally. What's going to happen? Is something actually going to happen? Are there going to be people stripped of their visas, deported? Are we going to see that?
Absolutely. I mean, those days are over. Thank God President Trump's in the White House. We're going to look at all of them. I mean, we're going to look at those here illegally, of course. We're going to look at those here under a visa or some sort of, immigration process that are criminals. We're going to look at the national security threats. But those who came through a process that weren't properly vetted, who didn't provide documentation, who slipped through the Biden's weak processes on, giving visas and temporary, whether student visas or visitors visas or whatever. We're going the whole gamut. President Trump has instructed us go down and we're going to deep dive all of this. And we're going to hold people accountable. So yes, there are going to be multiple deportations coming. Absolutely.
There's so many claims of a racist element to this story. And when we're talking about a certain subsection of refugees into this country, but it bears reminding the people that it wasn't very long ago at all that Americans expected that people that came to our country would contribute to the cause, would assimilate to our culture and to who we are. And we're just not seeing that at all in this community. We're seeing a community that's largely hostile to our culture, wants to bring in an Islamic culture into our nation, while doing so and staying vastly on the dole, on some kind of assistance, taking more than they contribute. Knowing all of that, here's Ilhan Omar on our immigration system under this president and the job that you're doing.
This is certainly not what the founding fathers of the American dream were thinking about when they said, that when they set out to write the Constitution.
What's your reaction to that?
Unlike the Biden administration, we're following the Constitution. We're enforcing the law. We're not ignoring the law. And you're right. The proper, assimilation is important, and it's going to be required. Not only that, when they come here on a legal program, they're required to be self-sufficient. They have to prove they're self-sufficient. So a lot of them, first thing they're doing to get here is get on the public dole. President Trump put his foot down, and like I said earlier, we're doing a deep dive on thousands and thousands of files, and we'll hold people accountable. And you know, I'm so tired of them pulling the race card all the time, you know,
Right.
because we're doing this racist. ICE has arrested people from 180 different countries. Europe, Asia, South America.
Every color
They're
you
not
can
just
imagine.
arresting brown and black
Yeah.
people. They're arresting people from all over the world. You know, the immigration enforcement is colorblind. There's one thing that matters to us. Did they follow the immigration law? Are they here legally? Did they break the law once they became here, either illegally or legal? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we're following the law. That's all that matters to us. What Title 8 United States Code, Title 18 United States Code, the Immigration Nationality Act, what that says, we're enforcing without apology. That's the way it's supposed to be. As a member of Congress, she should respect that we're enforcing the laws that Congress enacted.
Yeah, and does anybody buy that the Founding Fathers were trying to set up a welfare state for African refugees in this country?
This is exactly what I'm talking about. When the truth is finally out, you can see Ilhan Omar freeze, completely unprepared to respond. Every point Tom Homan makes lands with precision, and you could literally watch her scramble for words, trying to regain control but failing. The panic is clear on her face. She knows the spotlight is on her, and there's no way to spin this. It's a raw moment of exposure, and it shows why accountability matters. The American people deserve leaders who actually uphold the law, and moments like this prove why some of these Democrats shouldn't be in Congress.